Good morning, everyone. Today, let's look at voltage grid of cables. So, by grading means working voltage of the cable. The thickness of the rubber insulation covering of the cable depends upon the voltage at which a cable is to work. Therefore, cables are manufactured in two different grades, namely 230/400 volt grade and 630/1100 volt grades. So the 230/400 volt grade cables are used for domestic and power wiring installation, and 630/1100 volt grades cables are used for industrial power wiring. The insulation of the wire of grade 630/1100 volt grade is comparatively thicker than 230/400 volt grade cables, as the working voltage is higher in the former. Let's look at selection of wiring installation. Let's look at selection of cable for wiring installation, and here we will need to consider three factors. That is the effect of the atmosphere, 1, 2, maximum voltage of the maximum voltage of the circuit, and lastly, full load current of the circuit. So by looking at the effect of atmosphere, the insulation of a cable should not be affected by the surrounding atmosphere condition. E.g., waterproof cable is used for open places. A triple cable is used for oil mills, and a lead covered cable is used in chemical plants, as the acid fumes can destroy the insulation of the other cables. The other factor is maximum voltage of the circuit. So the grading of the cable should be equal to the maximum voltage of the circuit. And the last one is the full load current of the circuit. So the grading of the cable should be equal to the the current rating of the cable must be at least such that it can pass the full load current of the circuit. Let's look at the choice of wiring systems. So before any electrical installation is begun, some careful thought must be given to the factors or conditions which decide the type of the wiring system and its associated accessories and electrical equipment and fittings to be installed. So factors to be considered when choosing a good wiring system. Let me name them first. The first one is the type of the building. Number 2 is flexibility. Number 3 is installation conditions. Number 4 is appearance. Number 5 is durability. Number 7 is safety. Number 8 is mechanical protection. Number 9 is permanency. Number 10 is initial cost. And lastly, number 11 is maintenance cost. Let's look at the first one, type of the building. So whether the installation work is a permanent building or for the extension of an existing building. So you may decide. So if it's a permanent building, then you do a concealed work. So if it's a temporary building, then you can do surface wiring. So you have to consider the type of the building first. The second one is flexibility, and whether the wiring system must be one which will allow it to be easily extended or altered at some time in the future. For instance, a building may have different tenants during its life, all of whom may require the provision installation arrangements suitable for their needs. For example, offices, shops, stores, showrooms, or maybe dwelling spaces the more consideration given to this factor in the initial stages of installation planning, the less will be the cost of extension or alteration in future. The third one is the installation conditions. Whether the installation is likely to be subjected to mechanical damage, moisture, fumes, weather, abnormal or subnormal temperature, inflammable or explosive dust, gas or vapor. Then we have appearance. Our fourth factor is appearance. So whether the building is such that the electrical installation must be hidden or its appearance can be allowed, e.g. surface run conduit is not out of place in workshop, but it will be in a suite of offices where appearance is of primary importance. The fourth one is the durability, whether the installation is to last for the time of the life of the building or not. Certain systems have a life in normal installation conditions. The other factor is safety, and the first and foremost configuration is safety to the person using electricity against leakage or shock. For instance, in a factory where a lot of fumes are produced, clit or casing capping wiring cannot be employed. Where there is possibility of hazard or fire hazard, conduit wiring must be used. The other factor is mechanical protection. The wiring must be protected from mechanical damage during its use. The other factor again is permanency. The wiring must not deteriorate unduly by action of weather, fumes, dampness, etc. The other factor is initial cost. So here, the initial cost of the wiring system to be selected is one of the main points to be considered. The wiring system selected must be safe as well as economical. And our last factor is maintenance cost. The wiring system to be selected should have, as far as possible, low maintenance cost.